welcome to the Science Faction Podcast, where science meets fact meets fiction.
This is Science Faction for the week of August 31st, 2025. I'm your host, Devon Kraft, and with me this evening, without Sans kids and wife, I'm assuming?
You assume incorrectly, sir. Wife is here.
Oh, really?
Yes, this is Stephen Dominguez. Yeah, the kids are just at the grandparents for the weekend. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we got a free day. Free days are always good. And we decided this week we're giving Ben the night off. Round of applause. He deserves it. I don't know. You probably don't know much what's going on with him with his work, but his work is super busy. He's probably working right now. As our listeners may or may not know. Oh, very nice. He works for a company that is contracted with Apple. So he's under contract. Like, he can't tell us what he's doing other than I'm working on something for a new launch that's coming at some point. And so it's like crunch time for whatever's coming next from Apple. So, but we know no details. He has broken no contracts. And really, it's funny because like I thought after he worked with them for a while, for like a few years, he's gonna be like, oh man, here's the scoop. But every time he's just like, I can't say. I'm like, okay, dude. You're staying true to your word and your contract. That's the way to do it. He's a stand-up gentleman.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So no Ben this week. Work overload. Next week he should be back. And so in the meantime, it's Devon and I. As you heard, we did a retro opening of the show. Long time listeners will know that Devon used to open our shows. Well, what a blast from the past this is.
Yeah.
You got to talk more, man. I can't.
I know. I don't know. When is my time to jump in? I guess without Ben here, I have to be more proactive.
Yeah.
I know I haven't been on the show much lately.
Yeah. What's wrong with you?
Well, we've just been busy. Like I've talked about a million times, our yard stuff, which we've pretty much completed. There's like just small things we have to do. And my mom's in town right now. She got in on Thursday and she's leaving this coming Thursday. So she's been around. Yeah. So, but and then last weekend, Jen and I were in Milwaukee because it was our annual where we go to a city to watch a Giants game with our friends. And this time we went to Milwaukee because we always want to go to a different city. We've gone to Miami, San Diego, and technically Dallas last year, but it was a little different. But and so this year we went to Milwaukee, which is an awesome city. You may know it from Wayne's World.
Yep, that's the only place I know it from.
And like I don't know that there's a lot of famous things set in Milwaukee. If you watch Red Letter Media, which if you don't know what that is, but you've heard of the guy who makes fun of or did the long essay on the video essay on Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
That's Red Letter Media.
That's where they
back in the day.
Yeah.
20 years ago, but they still make content and it's actually really good. So, but they're based out of Milwaukee. So I know they always mention Milwaukee and Milwaukee sites. So that's the other thing. I was like, oh, this is what they're talking about. And they always make fun of it because, it's your hometown or I assume it's their hometown. And they make fun of it. Like Milwaukee was actually really, really nice.
Nice in what way?
Like clean.
Oh, okay.
We were in a few different areas, of course, not a ton to really, get an idea of what it's actually like overall. I'm sure there's bad parts and good parts, but where our Airbnb was nice. It was a short walk to this street that had some bars and restaurants, which at night was a bit seedy, but that's fine. That's what you expect in a place like that. But there were, and also it's Milwaukee, so it's known for breweries. So there's a ton of breweries we went to. They were all really cool. We must have gone to like 5 or 6 different breweries. One of which we actually went on the tour of the Miller Brewery. Yeah,
Okay.
They make they make Miller High Life, Miller
Oh,
Lite.
Miller. Okay. I was in my head, it was like some generic, like, like somebody who mills things, and like that's the
Miller, yeah,
mascot for their brewery. I was like, okay, Miller, sure. No, Miller. Okay, got it.
yeah. And they brew. They acquired because of a merger like I don't know 10 years ago. They also do Blue Moon.
Okay.
So that's a big one they do. But that was cool. That was which is funny because while doing it, I was like, wait a minute, I think there's even a scene in Wayne's World where they do a tour like this. Because there's some part where they get money and there's a montage of them doing fun things. And I think there's one part and they do like the song from I can't remember the sitcom, but this whole like thing. But I'm like, actually, I think they even referenced this tour in Wayne's World, which the tour is nothing like they show. They showed them like on the factory floor, like messing with stuff. But of course, you don't do that as a tour. But
Oh,
you do see a
of
lot of it,
course.
and they give you samples like along the way, which a sample is like a pretty good amount. It's like a small plastic, like not, I don't know, like probably half of what would fit in a red Solo cup, so a pretty good amount.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
Um,
a decent couple of big gulps there.
And they give you those like every, I feel like I had maybe four of those on the tour. And at the end, you go to like the tour center and you can get it, you're like included with the tour is another beer. So you can just have a beer for the end of the tour.
Congratulations on drinking beer. Here's a beer.
But also, it was near the stadium and we went just before the game. Because we got there on a Thursday, but the game we were seeing was on Saturday. So we had plenty of time to do stuff on like Friday and things. But so there were actually a lot of Giants fans there. So we like met a lot of Giants fans who were going to the game afterwards. So that was kind of fun to like just, people with a common interest to talk to about with people.
Yeah. What's the team in Milwaukee?
It's the Brewers. Milwaukee Brewers are actually doing really well. They have one of the best records in baseball right now. So,
Wait,
but the
like,
Giants beat,
hold on.
yeah,
Brewer as in like brewery brewer? Like they're just the Milwaukee beer
yeah,
people?
yeah.
What's the mascot? A mug of suds?
Oh, yeah. Mascots are weird. Mascots are not like what you think. They don't usually are associated with the name of the team, at least not in
Oh,
baseball.
baseball's weird. So
Um,
you were saying the Brewers were doing really they have a good season?
I mean, it's Bernie Brewer. It's just a white guy with blonde hair, a big mustache. So actually, that does fit in with
Okay.
their name, Bernie Brewer, character of the team's mascot in 1973.
Just some guy who makes beer as our mascot. Wow. Are you reading about
Yeah,
him
it's
right
like the
now?
mascot for the mascot for the Giants is Lucille because they're in a bay, so it's a seal. Like you wouldn't associate that with
Oh,
Giants.
Lucy, and it's like a seal named Lucille. Is it an Arrested Development joke? What?
That's when I first heard it. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, like in Arrested Development.
Yeah, Lucille, no, loose seal.
Mhm.
Wow. Right on. Anything else you want to report about Milwaukee?
I'm trying to think. No, I mean that's really all we did was just go to breweries, drink, go to restaurants, go to the game. I'm trying to think. There's like no other activity I can think of that we did. Like we didn't go bowling or I mean we went to the because it's on the lake. It's on the Lake Michigan.
Oh,
I
I
should
don't
probably
know.
know that, but it's on one of the Great Lakes. So we did like go down to the lake and walk along like a pier, but that was after we stopped and had beer and food
Okay.
um, at a beer garden. So everything's related to beer.
Wow.
One of the, I mean, all of the breweries were really cool and had different unique things, but one of them was called Broken Bat. It had darts, so we played darts. It had pool, we played pool, but it also had an indoor wiffle ball court. Like court's the wrong word, field. Like, and it was funny because the whole time we were there, I was just like playing darts with Tony, and then like Jen and Marilyn went and like, oh, there's a whole like wiffle ball field here. You got to check it out. And then at some point, Tony left to go to the bathroom, and then he checked it out and was like, oh yeah, this, and they even let me play, and I hit like a ball and stuff. And from my perspective, because I hadn't seen it yet, and I was drinking, so I was in a weird state of mind. But I was like, this is like a sitcom where there's some big thing happening, but you don't have the
The
budget
budget.
to actually show it on screen. So you just have the characters be like, this crazy stuff happened, but you're not going to show it. I'm like,
Right
if I
over
never see this
there.
thing, yeah. But I did before we left. We went in there and we all played around because there was no one in there. Although then we learned you had to reserve it because then a bunch of people showed up and we were like, oh crap! And they're like, did you reserve this? We're like, no. But
Ah.
it's like a warehouse, and so you have like a basically the size of the infield, although it was narrower. If you take like the angle of the foul lines and you change it from like a 45-degree angle to I don't know a more acute angle,
Okay. All
then
right.
but yeah, it was fun. So other than that, everything
All right.
that's what we did. That's the whole thing.
Right on, man. So now that your lawn is near completion, what's the next big project you got?
Um, I mean, nothing on that scale, that's for sure. I
Okay.
mentioned before that our gate on the side is still pretty bad shape. Got to fix that, but nothing like a huge change to anything that would be noticeable like that.
All
And
right.
there's still little things with the lawn we got to fix. We put some of the infill in, which I didn't know this, but when you get fake grass, there's like you put these bags of what look like sand on the grass.
Oh.
The grains are probably slightly bigger than a grain of sand, and you have to broom it or shovel it or rake it into the grass, so it helps keep all the strands of fake grass up, and
Oh.
it helps kind
Weird.
of patch in anything that might look weird. So, but you put a ton of it on. Like we did the math when we first started the project. We're like, well, we're gonna have this many square feet of grass, and it says we need like one bag per every like foot and a half square feet, which is
That's a lot of
crazy.
eggs.
Because then we had like, how many bags did we buy? It's still on our porch. We've got 100 or more of these bags, and they're like, I want to say 20-pound bags, 30-pound bags. Like they're
Jeez.
substantial.
Yeah.
And we've used half of them and already done the entire lawn. And they do say like, if you can go over your lawn a few times with this. Um, which we're doing because I don't know if we've put enough in. I mean, based on the ratio I just said, I'm like, we should just be pouring like a one bag on one spot. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to we're trying to, like use like a seeder to like kind of spread it out evenly, although that took way too long. So we just started doing it by hand.
Yeah.
But even that, I'm like, based on that ratio, we should just pour this bag in one spot and just kind of like,
Push it around
I
with
don't
a
know.
rake, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
We actually have a special rake that has these bristles that are long and thin, and then so they go through the grass, and that really helps.
Gotta comb the grass, man.
Basically, yeah.
Wow. All right. That's pretty cool. Um, yeah, I've got nothing, no big projects going on here. The latest big yard thing that's happening, and I mentioned it here on the podcast a few days ago, or a few episodes ago maybe. But the chickens are laying. I think we have 3 dozen eggs in our fridge right now, and they're pumping out 4 to 5 a day now. And so that's a lot of eggs.
Yeah.
We're gonna start, giving them out. We're not gonna I don't think we're gonna start selling them, but we'll give them to like neighbors and friends and stuff. Like Ben, I don't know if Ben's listening right now, but if Ben's listening, you might be getting a dozen eggs soon. Enjoy those. Uh, so I'm just gonna huck them right at your window. It's gonna be great. So let's see. Yesterday I played Shatterpoint. And right before we started recording here, I sent you a picture. I just painted today my Anakin Skywalker from the core set.
Yeah.
Kind of
Look good.
thank you. It was kind of weird, like his clothing that they took it from like Clone Wars era. So his hair's got that weird little flip on it, and he doesn't look too cartoony, but a little bit. I mean, they all kind of look cartoony. But what he's wearing isn't like the Clone Wars armor. Like the Obi-Wan character has like the chest piece armor and like the gauntlet type armor, Um, But the Anakin is just the robes, and they are dark. Like they're dark from like, episode 3, where it's like a maroon, almost brown. And when you're painting little models like that, you got to be careful of your color schemes, because if things are too monochromatic, it just makes the figure just kind of look like kind of blobby. Like you need to have some kind of contrasting colors, some kind of light, something to like make it, pop. And it was really hard with that character. I mean, his lightsaber, of course, is this bright blue. But besides that, all his clothes are just dark. And so I had to artistically licensed and lightened up some of this cloak, some of the cloak bits.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyways, so yesterday I played Greg. I'm sorry, Christina's husband. I gotta to do it right. And buddy TJ. We played a game of Shatterpoint where I was Vader. Let's see. So one squad was Vader, Stormtrooper squad leader, and 2 Stormtroopers, and then Grand Admiral Thrawn, Agent Callus, and then 2 ISB agents. So that was my team. And then Greg and TJ, they both played a squad, so it was like me versus those 2, and it was they did. Greg was in control of Hondo Onaka and Guarm and the Weequay pirates, and then TJ had Cad Bane. What's her name? Aura Singh, right? The bald sharpshooter. And then 2 generic bounty hunters. One was Deveronian, and the other one is Chidra Fan. The things that I know about Star Wars shock me sometimes. I could just remember the names of these. Anyways.
Yeah.
So it was cool because it was like bounty hunters and Weequay pirates against the Empire. And the Vader, the version of Vader I used was from the box called Fear and Dead Men. Which is okay. So tangent on this, the box that you buy, like the squad box, has Vader in it, the Stormtrooper squad leader, and the 2 Stormtroopers. The name of that box was Fear and Dead Men. They got Fear and Dead Men from the Darth Vader comic book, where he crash lands, and then a small rebel army comes to take him down. I forget what the full plot was, but they're like. He has some monologue where it ends with, and all I see before me is fear and dead men, and then he massacres all of them. So it's a badass line, but it's taken from a comic book to be used in a miniature game, and it's just funny. I got it. I got it. Atomic Mass Gaming. That was fun. But anyways, Vader, that version of Vader, there's a few others that exist, but that version of Vader is cool because his melee attack is 8 dice, which is insane.
Oh.
And then you can spend a force, which is a currency that comes and goes as you play. You can spend a force to activate this ability where he dashes towards an enemy, and then you get to roll 3 additional dice with your melee attack, with your next melee attack. So as long as he's close to somebody, he can dash towards them, which is so you can advance, which is 10 inches, and then you can dash, which is 5 inches. So on your turn, you can take 2 move actions if you wanted, and advance twice. So he could advance once, which is a nice big one, and then dash, which is a half movement, towards an enemy, and then do an 11 dice attack on them. I did this a few times and just massacred, just one shot a couple dudes. So the first round that we played, Vader did a lot of work. Oh, and here's the thing: if he can do a ton of damage, but if he doesn't wound the character, which is when they reach their damage threshold, then they become wounded. They can't take objectives anymore. There's a couple of little rules. If he fails to wound somebody on his turn, the card gets shuffled back into your order deck. So he'll come back. Vader will keep coming back into your turns until he wounds somebody. That's insane. That's crazy. So anyways, I used Vader that first round. He did a bunch of work. I won the first round. And then the second round, Vader had one of the points kind of locked down. And so that left everyone else to like try to get the other 2 points on this map. And one of the abilities that both the Stormtrooper squad leader, the Stormtroopers, and the ISB agents, they all have these abilities where it was like, take extra movement, but then that's going to cost you health, right? So you can have those units be more mobile, but their health is going to go down a little bit. So just to see like how mobile they could be, every time I had the opportunity to, I would damage them to get them into better positions. That's not a good strategy. Just FYI, spoilers, not a good strategy. They were pretty mobile, but a couple of them got taken out. That our second round of play was real back and forth, real close. And then Greg and TJ took that round. Then when it came to round 3, I was in a very poor position. A lot of my characters had been injured. So the way that it goes is, say, I think a Stormtrooper has like 8 health, and it has 2 injury tokens. So that means is once they lose all 8 health, they become wounded. And then until the next time their order card is flipped up, which is how you take your turn, you flip an order card, and then whoever's on the card is who activates. The next time they come up, you clear all of their health, and then the wounded token flips over and becomes an injured token, and now they can do stuff again. But then after that second injury token is flipped over, they're taken off the board for good. And if some characters, if they have a wound or are injured, they do. It's harder for them to get off their special abilities. They cost an extra force to do them, and they can't. There's something about how they take objectives. If you're wounded, you can't help to take an objective, but if you're injured, you can. So, anyways, I ended up wounding and injuring so many of my characters, but and part of it being my fault that the third round I just couldn't get a foothold, and they started taking out more of my guys, and they won the third round pretty heartily. But it was fun. It was a fun game. Hondo Onaka, he's got this ability. If you attack him, part of his defense roll is that he can immediately heal a damage and he can jump. So if you shoot him and only cause 1 or 2 damage, one of them gets healed right away, and then he gets to jump out of range or gets to jump towards his objective. There were so many times he was so annoying. It would be like, get this freaking character. I mean, the character of Hondo Onaka is awesome, and so it's right in line with somebody just being like slippery, and like you can't get a hold on him, and you keep thinking that you're hurting him, but you're really not. And so thematically, I think that worked really well. But playing the game, he was annoying to deal with.
Yeah.
So anyways, so I lost that. Oh well, so sad. Good job, Greg and TJ. And funny side story. No one's gonna listen to this. Maybe TJ will eventually. So we were. He was introduced into the. He's a new guy. He's a new guy in the group. He was introduced by one of the old guys in the group, and then we found out he liked to play Shatterpoint, and so he came over to Greg's, and I was there, and I was like, this dude looks kind of familiar, and I can't place it. And then eventually, and this is so bad, I slyly took a picture of him and sent it to Martine. Was like, we know who this is, right? Like, do you recognize who this is? And she was like, duh, that's so and so. And it turns out he was one of Martine's best friend's family members. So whenever she would go over to that house, he lived next door, and so he was always over visiting because they were all family. And so like, he was the kid that would, like, when we were all like hanging out in high school, he would like run in with his Game Boy talking about the Pokemon he just got, and we'd be like, right on, man. And just like wanting to hang out, wanting to be part of things. Well, we were never like friends or anything. He was just, part of the scenery. When you're a teenager, you don't really pay attention to like little cousins and little brothers and stuff. But it turns out he got way into wargaming, and so when he showed up the other day or yesterday when we played, he brought like some of his painted Shatterpoint figures, which looked really good. Some 40K Warhammer 40K figures, everything painted really nicely. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So then after I did the sneaky scumbag picture, I was like, hey, you're so and so, right? He was like, yeah. And then so I explained, and he was like, oh, I thought you looked familiar too. So it's just like a weird way of life, like bringing
it's like
people
I was
together.
trying to figure out who you were too, so I put cameras in the bathroom and recorded you while you took that to my wife so she could identify you.
Oh man, what, that was unnecessary, but okay. Small world, man. And it's cool. Like that's the fun, like when the internet is actually doing a good thing, you know, connecting people that now you have something to connect about, you know. And we'll be playing, and there's other games that we're gonna play now. We played this other one called This Is Not a Test, which is it's a skirmish game. You have like, I don't know, 5 or 6 models. It's all like wasteland, post-apocalyptic, very Fallout in style. And it's like at one point it had more Fallout-y stuff in it in like a previous version, and like that's been taken out now because now Fallout has its own miniature game and role-playing system and all that. But like things are like very like we played a game of that, and I used my Raiders from my Fallout mini game. And anyways, we played that. Greg was mutants. TJ was what were they? Like the protectors or something. They were like cops of the wasteland. And so really the match was those two fighting each other. And then since I was there just kind of hanging out, I was a couple raiders that were just like part of the scenery. Like I would just randomly attack people and stuff. I didn't have any I wasn't I couldn't win or lose the game. I wasn't one of the people in the game, right? I was just the scenery. Anyway, that game's a lot of fun too. And we're going to start like a campaign or something with that. I'm going to be the Caravanners. And I actually ordered from the Fallout Wasteland Warfare game series Pack Brahmin. So the 2-headed cows.
Okay.
So I'm going to have like one 2-headed cow and then another 2-headed cow that has like a bunch of trunks and like bags and stuff piled on its back. And those in this This Is Not a Test game, they act as like heavy cover. So like they still have their own like health points and stuff, and they can do attacks. They can like run, they can like charge and like hit people and stuff. But then they also, your other miniatures can like hide behind them, and that gives them heavy cover. And I was like, oh, that's really cool to have like mobile cover that kind of travels with you. Like that's interesting. Yeah. Anyways, more miniature stuff, more fun. Yeah, it's good times. Let's see what else has been going on. Have you been keeping up with the Alien TV show, Alien Earth?
We've watched episode 3. We haven't watched episode 4, which I think is out, right?
Yeah. That one's called Observation, I think. I think that's right. It was a really good. It was a very creepy episode. So, like, what are your thoughts on it? Seeing the first 3 episodes now. I think we talked after we saw the first one, but now that you got 3 under your belt, what do you think about the show?
I mean, I still have mostly the same feeling as I did before, like kind of like I guess a mixed feeling. There's things I like about it and things I don't. I was happy that it wasn't just going to be them on that crash ship, like trying to find the alien. Like it wasn't. That's not the whole episode or whole season. They actually are taking it for study, which is cool. I mean, you still got to think like it's got to break out, and there's got to be things.
Yeah, things are going to go wrong. Yeah, people are going to get attacked. Things are going to go wrong. If they didn't, it would be a boring show.
So I was happy about that, and I think that could be cool. So yeah, it's kind of the same. Just, I mean, it's interesting enough to keep watching, so we'll keep watching it. See what happens.
Right on. Yeah. So I watched the 4th episode, called Observation, and that one, I think like that's the turning point for the season, it feels like, because by the end of that episode, you kind of get an idea of everybody's motivations, their character arcs, what the bigger plot points are heading towards. It kind of felt like that episode was like, okay, now that we have introduced everybody and how they all interact and what all of their interests are, what all their fears are, now we're going to get on with the plot. And that's kind of, it's called observation. There's a lot of like meaning with that within the episode itself. There's a very clear, like, we're analyzing or we're observing this one alien, but it's also who is observing who else and things like that. It's starting to grow on me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's because the questions that it raises, the sci-fi type questions that it's raising, are not alien based. They're artificial life based.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have cyborgs, right? Humans that have mechanical parts in them. We have replicants, somebody just a pure synthetic human, and then we also have these other things. What do they call them?
The kids.
Yeah, the robot bodies with the kids inside of them.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what do they call
those? Are they hybrids? They call them hybrids or something?
I don't think they'd call them that, but that would kind of make sense. But it's something like that.
It's something like that, yeah. Which is essentially here's a synthetic body, but we're going to transfer the mind of a dying child into this body. And so that's like 3 different types of artificial life. And that is more interesting in the show than the alien stuff so far. I mean, you got the cool, like, here's his xenomorph, here's, face huggers, here, it's all of those little things are there, along with other alien species, which it's fun when they start to dive into those. But really, it's like, what are these kids? And at one point in the episode 4, so slight spoiler for it, one of the scientists say, like, at best case scenario, we have copied children into AI. Worst case scenario, we killed 6 kids or something. I got that first line wrong, but essentially it's saying that, like, are these even the kids, or are these just copies of the kids?
Yeah, that's a classic question. Basically, like the transporter question in Star Trek.
Yeah, you break down one and it reappears the other end. Did you just kill the first one?
Or did they even mention, like, in the show, did they even reference the ship of Theseus? I saw something recently where they quickly explained the ship of Theseus. I'm like,
so.
Would have made sense in that, but maybe it was something else I was watching.
I mean, they did. The last time I remember that being referenced was in WandaVision with Vision.
Okay. But it's the same thing. Just when are they the same, or just a copy, or does that even matter?
Yeah.
We've had that conversation a million times. So reference go to old episodes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't need to rehash it here.
Search function. But so that's interesting because one of the main characters, one of the main hybrid, robot children characters, her brother's there. So none of the other ones have any contact with family. Well, and they were all given, like, new names. So her name is Wendy, but her name used to be Maya or Megan or something with an M. I don't remember. So he calls her that. Everyone else is calling her Wendy. And it's like, who is she really? If she's a new being, a new form of sentience that's just merely copied from the original, well, then she's Wendy. But if it was in fact transferred over, well, then it would still be the original name. And yeah, it's interesting. I dig that stuff. Plus, like, the cyborg stuff, because you got the cyborg guy, like, download all the ship's data into his head. So he's more than just like a knife hand man. He's got other stuff in him. That's interesting. And then just the straight up synthetic dude, Timothy Oliphant's character, who really seems like a copy of Roy Batty from Blade Runner. It's like his like intensity and the white hair and all that. Anyway, super interesting. So far with Alien Earth, I'm digging more of those types of plot lines than the actual alien plot lines. But I will say, in the last episode, Observation, they kind of let another alien take center stage a little bit, and that was really, really cool. Like different kind of body horror, different kind of alien stuff.
Is it the eyeball alien? I think it's the eyeball alien.
Yeah, they kind of in the preview for the preview.
Yeah,
they kind of showed that, so you get to like learn more about that thing, which is kind of cool. Yeah. All right.
Keep watching that. Oh, we started watching the new season of Foundation. Like, there's something else we started watching. That now we're going to go back to Alien because we have a lot of Foundation to catch up on. But because I think the new season of Foundation, like they just aired like the 8th episode or something, and I either probably an 8 or 10 episode season.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of it.
Did you? You've hit none of the show or none of this? Like
none of the season.
I forgot.
I've watched. I've definitely watched the first season, and I believe I finished the second season. But it's been so long, I don't remember if I actually finished it or if I just have a few episodes left. I don't know.
Yeah, we always watch recaps on YouTube if we're getting caught up on a show to watch the new season, which I'm sure most people do.
Yeah, you have to.
And they're hit or miss, but yeah, I mean, just like any other season of the show, it seems interesting. There's new conflicts.
Another time
the
jump.
The Cleons. What?
They do another time jump?
Yeah, they did a big time jump.
Okay.
So you have like 3 new Cleons who are the same actors, but with different, like their new personalities.
Right.
Because they've all, had different experiences, and as they kind of reveal in the second season, they actually do have some genetic drift. So it's kind of funny to see them acting differently, and that, I mean, it's a slight spoiler, but it's really not. One of the funny twists of their personalities is the middle one. I guess that's Day, because there's dawn, day, and dusk.
Right.
And Day is usually the one in control. Day is giving up his power because he doesn't want to be anything. He's like, I just want to like, chill and smoke and like have sex. Like, I'm rich and famous. Why do I want all the pressure of running a galaxy? Like, I'm just gonna chill. And like, It's like, yeah, that's a good idea.
That's cool. That's an interesting little twist. Yeah, Foundation, man, good stuff. I gotta get back into that. You know what? Let's go ahead and take a little break. When we come back, we are gonna continue the chill chat. This is chill chat with 2 Chads. Book club. We're gonna skip book club this week. Next week, I'll talk about that after the break. But it's Bears Discover Fire. So we've got some links for that. So we'll be right back. Hey you, you sitting there listening to this for free, like some kind of podcast freeloader. Look, I'm not saying you owe us, but if you enjoy our deep dives into AI, space, and comic book mayhem, maybe toss a coin to your podcasters. Join our Patreon, get into our Discord, grab some exclusive content, and finally achieve that deep, satisfying sense of superiority over your non-Patreon listeners. Just imagine their sad, uninformed little faces. Patreon.com/Science Faction Podcast, because knowledge is power, and power is best hoarded behind a paywall.
And we're back.
Hey! And a big thank you to our patrons. That's Renee and Josh. You guys keep the lights on. Thank you so much. Renee commented on our Patreon from last week's unedited episode that you can only get to through our Patreon, patreon.com/Science Faction Podcast. I'm sure you know that. I'm trying to sign into it, and Patreon decided to give me a weird pop-up. Here it is. Let's find the comments. There it is. I tried to listen to the YouTube of the story. It was so bad. Like he says, it's a 1-take reading, but dude, a tiny bit of editing would do wonders, lol. So last week's, the link that Ben snagged for last week's book club, the YouTube reader, like apparently it wasn't very good. And so Renee pointed that out. Sorry, Renee. Maybe read with your eyes. It's, whatever you want to do.
There's a new book I want to read called The Battle for the Big Bang, because I saw it's got 2 authors, and I saw an interview with them. The interview was really good. It was on Alex O'Connor's channel, and it was like a 2-hour interview. but they made me want to read their book, which is why they did the interview. But it's not available on audio, and I'm wondering. I've on Amazon. They show some pages from the book, and some of the pages have like graphs and charts. And I'm like, okay, well maybe there's just too much you need to see in the book for audio to make sense. So that sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it
Which means I might
some.
have to read with my eyes.
See, that's not a great place to be in.
I mean, I read plenty of things with my eyes. I read constantly all day at work.
Well,
I read
yeah.
on my phone. I don't know if I think I've mentioned to you guys. I don't know if I've mentioned on the show, but I'm reading the Bible and I'm reading that like with my eyes. Yeah, as
So,
God gave me.
so how long did it take you after moving to Texas to start reading the Bible? How many
See, I've been
years
here
was that?
been here for like almost 4 years probably. So
4 years. Okay, so take that as a warning, everyone. If you want to move to Texas, don't stay longer than 4 years, or you're gonna start reading Bibles.
well, and
That's
just
fine.
I'm reading it just because I'm curious. You hear so much about it. It's such a influential book on history in the world, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you hear different things, and like I want to know what's in it. Like what this. It's I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show already. I don't know if I've said I'm reading the Bible, but it's like if you like think of a Star Trek episode where if they went to a planet where all these aliens were worshiping this book. It's one book, and they're
Yeah.
like they tell the crew like, no, this is everything. This is truth. This is morality. This our everything about our existence is wrapped up in this book. I think the crew would be like, well, we want to study this book. That's interesting. What does the book say?
Yeah.
So basically, I'm in Texas. Everybody worships this book, and I'm like, what the hell is in this book that's so interesting? I mean, again, like you hear different Bible stories. You hear like this is in there, and this isn't actually in there, and like, how was it written? What's the anyway? Of course, and I'm reading a book on the history of the Bible, so I have context for how it was written and why it's the way it is. But
And like why
yeah,
different translations
it's
exist and how it
it's an
changes
interesting
things.
read. What?
Well, just that different translations will lead to different passages meaning different things. So it's
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
yeah, who
That's
knows
the
some
thing.
of
Like
it.
it's been yeah translated. Different like sections of different transcripts have been discovered, and throughout history, different people have wanted to use different phrases and add. And I mean that's the whole thing about the history of it. It's like the multiple authors, especially with like the Old Testament, and how I mean that's you're talking about things that were written 3,000-4,000 years ago that were mostly passed down at one point through like oral tradition and then got written down by different people.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm actually, I mean, my big thing against religion is mostly just the logic of it. It's like it doesn't make sense to me. I get why people feel like they need it, but even though it's like the truth to me is what matters. So even if it makes sense that I would want to believe something that might feel like it gives my life meaning or says there's an afterlife, so I feel better about dying or whatever. Like, if it's not true, then that's doesn't make then what's the point? So, point is, I don't know a lot of the details.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, even just learning, like, from a academic standpoint of, like, even comparative religions, because I don't know much about Judaism. And Judaism is very much wrapped up, or Christianity is very much wrapped up in Judaism, considering they share half of the same holy book. Like the Old Testament is known as the Hebrew Bible. And see,
Yeah.
this is stuff that I'm sure everyone who went to like Sunday school and whatever is like, yeah, we already know this. Like, this is something you learn when you're a kid. I'm like, I never learned it. I didn't want to learn it, but now I'm kind of interested just so I have
Yeah.
context for things.
Yeah,
But
and I'm in the same boat. I didn't have religion pushed on me as a kid either. So like a lot of the like I remember being in elementary school and like some girl, this one specific girl was like, "Oh, what church do you go to?" All snotty, and I was like, "I don't go to church." She was just like, "Oh, okay then," and I was like, "Well, okay, like whatever." So like from that point on, I was always a little skeptical.
yeah,
Anyway, yeah, that's so have you had any pardon the pun, have you had any revelations about the Bible while reading it?
um, trying to think because I do. watch a lot of like atheist videos on YouTube, which is kind of one of the reasons I wanted to read it for myself, is because they analyze a lot of what's in it. Of course, criticize it or say how it's, should be interpreted or is misinterpreted.
Mm-hmm.
So that to say like there's something I'm shocked about is hard to say. But overall, because when people who are like, criticize the Bible, they're like, well, God, if you look at the Old Testament God, oh my gosh, he was a wrathful, hateful God. And I'm like, okay, he probably did like one or two things that were you're like, wow, that's weird, but I guess, you can kind of brush over that. No, but just about everything he does is like the most evil crap by today's standards or anybody's standards at any time. Like and so I'm in the book called Deuteronomy, which is kind of like, because the way the Bible's laid out is you've got Genesis, which is the beginning of the earth or everything, depending on, again, context. Some people say it's just the beginning of earth. Some people say it's the beginning of the universe.
Yeah.
But whatever. And then after that, and it's, again, there's so much interest. It's written in such a disjuncted way. Is that even a word?
No, disjointed is what you wanted to say.
Disjointed is the word I was trying to think of. Yeah. That there's so many random stories. Like a lot of the Bible stories you know of, like Noah's Ark or the Tower of Babel, especially the Tower of Babel, like just pop in. Like there'll be something will be going on, and it's like, oh, by the way, here's this short story. And you're like, okay, I guess that's in the Bible now, because you just put two paragraphs about the Tower of Babel, which I thought was a big thing. Um,
Huh.
so anyway, that all pops up, and then soon after Genesis, it gets into the Exodus from Egypt, with Moses leading people, and then leading the Israelites to Israel, and that's like 5 books. That's like I'm where I'm at right now is Deuteronomy, which is Moses dying and like giving his like last speech to the Israelites, and it's a complete summary of like the last 2 books. And I'm
They
just like,
didn't
oh
know how
my
to
gosh.
end the chapter, and they're like, well, let's summarize what we've learned.
It's just so crazy. I'm like, and of course it's a historical document that's compiled from different, again, origins, translations, blah blah blah. So it makes sense
Yeah.
it wouldn't read very well. But from like any literary standpoint, there's so much you'd be like, okay, cut this. This you've already said this 10 times, cut this. Like a lot of it, then like there's what Leviticus and Numbers. Like Leviticus is where you get like the anti-homosexual stuff, which again, just different ways to interpret it. And it really is just like, okay, God said, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But it's like if you it's like these instructions of like how to do like different offerings based on what sin you committed. And a lot of animals get just killed all the time in these eh, offerings. And then the way it's written is just so redundant. It's like if you do I can't even think of what different offerings, but it's just really redundant and boring, which is
Okay.
fine. But again, I'm reading it because I want to know like what is it? Like what do people see in this? And it's like they definitely don't see anything in this part. I'm sure like the absolute most devoted might, and actually that would be more true for Jewish people. So I might be offending Jewish people more than Christians because Christians seem to kind of want to brush aside the Old Testament. But
Yeah, they're like, oh,
anyway, from a writing
that
standpoint,
stuff
it's
was
terrible. God is evil. That was my point. I'm sorry, I'm babbling. I haven't really talked about this with anybody, but that was my point. So a lot of it of what I'm reading is about the Exodus from Egypt going to Israel, which is a lot longer than you might think if you've only heard of it as like one in a million Bible stories. But it's a very big, important part of the
okay.
Old Testament, apparently. Um, and my point of God being very not a good person or entity is
Character.
that over and over he says, don't do this. Don't do this thing. Especially don't have false idols. That's a big one. That keeps happening. And so, and then while he's talking to Moses, the people will be like, oh, we're bored. So we started worshiping this golden calf. And then Moses will come back and be like, what the hell did you guys do?
I
I
just
told you not to
told
do
you.
this. And then I'm trying to think for the golden calf, So they keep doing things like that, and God just like annihilates them. It's like either a plague swept through the people, or people literally see the like, because when you see the literal face of God, you die. And so it's like he threatens people, like, I'll show you my real face and you'll burn. And you go down to the realm of the undead or realm of the dead or something weird. They don't use the word hell, I think, in that part of the Bible. Um, but it's over and over. It's like these clear rules, no matter how insane they are. And the people who have seen God, because we're reading a story where these people are following a pillar of smoke during the day and a pillar of fire at night, and they've seen all these crazy things happen that can't be explained with any other way. So you would believe that God exists if you were a character in the story. And then to be like, oh, but I'm bored, or I'm tired of the food that God is providing for us, the whole manna from heaven. And then God is like, since you did lost faith in me, none of you will see the Holy Land, or nobody who was over the age of 20 when you left Egypt will see the Holy Land. And so that's why he makes them wander in the desert for 40 years to kill off all the old people.
Oh,
It's
jeez.
just, and this is the book that supposedly morality comes from. And I know Christians will say, like, look, Jesus is where the morality comes in. Wait for Jesus. But they still obviously cling to a lot of what's in this part of the Bible, like the homosexual stuff. There's plenty in this section that they want to use and say, this is an important rule. We need to follow it now. And there's a ton of stuff in there they just completely ignore.
Right.
Because it doesn't fit their common day ideology and identity politics of them wanting to control people. So it's complete
they
crap.
cherry pick the stuff that they want and then ignore the stuff that they don't. It's that's how it's been for a very long time. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, thanks for doing the heavy work, because I'm never gonna read that thing. That's very interesting.
But it's still, I mean, what compels me to read it? Like, obviously, it's not an interesting story. I mean, some parts are actually. Some parts when characters are actually doing something, I'm like, oh, what are they going to do next? Oh, they did something completely batshit. Okay. And those parts of the story can carry you along, but mostly it's like still, like I said, the academic part of it, like reading to be like, okay, even if you're bored, you got to remember, to a lot of people, this is like the most important thing ever. And that kind of keeps you going to be like, okay, I mean, and I feel like as I'm reading it, I've despite what I've been saying, because I haven't really had the opportunity to say all this, despite all the negative stuff I've been saying, I think maybe I've just gotten kind of accustomed to it or acclimated or just like sick, tired of it. I'm getting more into the mindset of reading it and kind of brushing off that stuff.
Okay.
I forgot what my point was because I'm talking way too much. But still, okay, I guess that's the thing, is like reading it from a point of view that, hey, a lot of people take this super serious. Right. And so reading it and being like, why do they take this so serious?
Yeah, maybe there's stuff in here that is good and I should be paying attention to. Let's figure it out. Well,
and again, I know for Christians specifically, obviously, because what they're named after, the Jesus stuff is what's important.
Right.
And so, but that's like way later, so you gotta get to that.
Yeah, I'm not more, but I'm really interested in the take there, because the common shouting that we hear on either social media or in the news, wherever, is that there's a certain section of people that are really behind, like, this is what Christ would do, and you're like, don't think he would side with the billionaires, and
yeah.
And so, like, but then there's like this not new, but I've heard more rumblings from the Christian side of things, where like, hey, actually, let's remember that he was a homeless hippie that just wanted to help people. And perhaps you need to just be quiet and help people. And, like more of the, hey, you say you're a Christian, but actually you're not following any Christian values whatsoever. It's just this weird identity thing. So I'm just really curious, when you finally get to that part, you'll be able to really give a good analysis on what somebody following in the footsteps of Christ would really be doing. And so I can't wait for that, man. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, no, that will be interesting. And I think a lot of that is probably true about the positive stuff Jesus has said. And one person who kind of fits what you were just talking about is James Talarico, who I think has been on social media a lot lately because he's a Democrat in the Texas State House, and he was one of the Democrats that left the state to prevent the legislature from voting on the new redistricting maps for the House. And so he did a lot of like media, and he was everywhere. But he's actually very religious, but he's a Democrat, and he's got great videos basically saying what you were just saying, and pretty much showing that like most democratic values should align with Christian values of, like you said, helping the poor and doing all these things to help people, not hoarding wealth and being absolutely horrendous to people you think are different than you.
Exactly.
I just wanted to mention him because he's really cool, and I hope he goes far in politics as long as he keeps his current ideology and doesn't get paid off and is like, oh wait, never mind, I'm an asshole Republican. But
actually, money and greed, and oops, here's now where I'm.
Yeah,
I'm
but no, I don't think that'll happen. If he had some great things he said against the law in Texas to post the 10 Commandments in schools, and that was like his thing about. I think he's even a pastor. And he's like, I'm obviously really religious, and I think it's horrible you would post the 10 Commandments in schools, in public schools. It's like, if our values are so great, people will come to them on their own. Why do we have to force them down people's throats? But
well, and that's when you get to the butt of the issue, or the point of the issue is it's not really about what they say it's about. It's about control. It's not about teaching somebody a better, more no. It's all about control, and that's
and the lady who promoted the law initially, like he was interviewing, or he was questioning her in the hearing, and she kept saying, well, the real reason we want these is just because for history, it's the basis of our morals, and we just want the history to be shown. It's like, first of all, there's a lot of problems with that because that's not true, but second of all, that's bullshit. We all know why you want them in there. You want to proselytize, you want to convert as many people as you can, you want to brainwash kids. That's it. Stop trying to put it in this context of, oh, it's just history. It's like, no, it's everybody knows why you're doing it. Like, why even try to lie about it? We all know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
well, everyone's saying,
and it's not gonna, I can't even see it working, but
yeah, what's it gonna do?
But it's still not great. I mean, still would prefer not to have the 10 Commandments in schools. That law passed is actually a law in Texas, although it's being challenged. I mean, there's like 1 million lawsuits against it because, of course, there should be.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not against religions, but I have a lot of problems with organized religion. There's right ways to do things, there's wrong ways to do things, and the slope is slippery. Let's see, what other science or science fiction things could we talk about? I mean, the Bible is science fiction, kinda, right? Creation story. Maybe it's all aliens. Anyways, today, Martine and I watched two or three episodes of Fallout, the Amazon TV show, which we'd started. Was that?
I mean, I was going to say, obviously, the first season, because this next season isn't out yet.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And actually, I wanted to rewatch because the second season's coming in the middle of December. So we had watched a few episodes, but I couldn't remember. It was a while ago. And I was like, oh, should we pick that up again? She's like, sure. So it turned out we were already like 4 episodes in, and it's only, I think, a 10-episode season. And so we watched a couple today, and I was like, yeah, this is a good show, because I've been playing a lot of Fallout 4 as well, just on my own time, just for fun. Fallout, that's good stuff. That's season 2, man. Ooh, it looks good. That's real exciting.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch it. I liked the first season.
Awesome. So you've seen the trailers and stuff?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the major, like, it was at the very end of the first season. So spoilers for the end of the first season of Fallout. That one of the characters in power armor is running towards a city, and that city is revealed to be Las Vegas. And there's a whole video game called Fallout New Vegas. I talked about this last week a bit. But it's just the previews, when you watch them, there's lots of like Las Vegas imagery, and you're like, what? If you are very, like, if you're not in the know about Fallout, that's might be kind of surprising. But that is super awesome because that's one of the best games in the series. And they recast one of the one of the characters, Mr. House. So he was in the first season as part of the round table of like the corporations that are ruling everything. One of them's Robco because his name's Robert House. And they recast that character, so you'll see him in the preview. And you see him like he's lives in Las Vegas at the top of the Lucky 38, and then when you play Fallout New Vegas, you're like, he is somehow in the computer running everything still. What's that all about? And so I'm excited this season to like give more backstory and like what's going on with that character, which is that's going to be pretty fun. I'm excited about that. Yeah. I think we have probably done enough. I forgot to reset the timer after our break.
Met our time quota.
I think we met our quota.
I can rant about religion more if you need me to.
No, I think I'm good for a while. So just to remind everyone, book club next week, we have Bears Discover Fire, which won the Hugo Award for Best Short Story and the Nebula Award for Best Short Story. It was inspiration for Michael Bishop's 2005 story, Bears Discover Smut. What? Okay. And those awards were in 1991 and 1990. What?
This is really into bears.
I mean, some people, if they find their groove, they just go for it, man. All right. So, yeah, next week, hopefully Ben's back. If not, then maybe Devin. If not, who knows? We'll just see where it goes from here. Devin, do you have any final thoughts for us this week?
No.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. I don't have any last words or anything, so trying to think of something like smart and clever and snappy, and we never can, we never could, we never will, and that's why Ben gives us his jokes.
Yeah.
So instead, we're just gonna end like super awkward.
This has been the Science Faction Podcast. We hope you have enjoyed your time with us, and I hope we've brought a little bit more knowledge and understanding into your life. I think it was the poet, something or other, who said, stop listening, turn off your goddamn phone.
This has been the Science Faction Podcast. Tweet to the host at SciFact Podcast. Email them at sciencefactionpodcast@gmail.com and visit sciencefactionpodcast.com for more episodes.